Bible in a Year, the Message Version, June 10. 1 Kings chapter 7, verse 1 through verse 51. It took Solomon another 13 years to finish building his own palace complex. He built the palace of the forest of Lebanon, 150 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. There were 4 rows of cedar columns supporting 45 cedar beams, 15 in each row, and then roofed with cedar. Windows of groupings of 3 were set high in the walls on either side. All the doors were rectangular and arranged symmetrically. He built a colonnaded courtyard, 75 feet long and 45 wide. It had a roofed porch at the front with ample eaves. He built a courtroom, a hall of justice where he would decide judicial matters, and paneled it with cedar. He built his personal residence behind the hall on similar plans. Solomon also built another one just like it for Pharaoh's daughter, whom he had married. No expense was spared. Everything here, inside and out, from fountains to roof, was constructed using high-quality stone, accurately cut and shaped and polished. The foundation stones were huge, ranging in size from 12 to 15 feet and of very best quality. The finest stones was used above the foundation, shaped to size and trimmed with cedar. The courtyard was enclosed with a wall made of 3 layers of stone and topped with cedar timbers, just like the one in the porch in the temple of God. King Solomon sent to Tyre and asked Hiram, not the king, another Hiram, to come. Hiram's mother was a widow from the tribe of Naphtali. His father was a Tyrian and a master worker in bronze. Hiram was a real artist. He could do anything with bronze. He came to King Solomon and did all the bronze work. First, he cast 2 pillars in bronze, each 27 feet tall and 18 feet in circumference. He then cast 2 capitals in bronze to set on the pillars. Each capital was 7.5 feet high and flared at the top in the shape of a lily. Each capital was dressed with an embroidered filigree of 7 braided chains and a double row of 200 pomegranates, setting the pillars off magnificently. He set the pillars up in the entrance porch to the temple. The pillar to the south he named Security, Jachin, and the pillar to the north, Stability, Boaz. The capitals were in the shape of lilies. When the pillars were finished, Hiram's next project was to make the sea an immense round basin of cast metal 15 feet in diameter, 7.5 feet tall, and 45 feet in circumference. Just under the rim, there were 2 bands of decorative gourds, 10 gourds to each 1.5 feet. The gourds were cast in one piece with the sea. The sea was set on 12 bulls, 3 facing north, 3 facing west, 3 facing south, and 3 facing east. The bulls faced outward, supporting the sea on their hindquarters. The sea was 3 inches thick and flared at the rim like a cup or like a lily. It held about 11,500 gallons. Hiram also made 10 washstands of bronze. Each was 6 feet square and 4.5 feet tall. They were made like this. Panels were fastened to the uprights. Lions, bulls, and cherubs were represented on the panels and uprights. Beveled wreath work bordered the lions and bulls above and below. Each stand was mounted on 4 bronze wheels with bronze axles. The uprights were cast with decorative relief work. Each stand held a basin on a circular engraved support, a foot and a half deep, set on pedestals 2¼ feet square. The washstand itself was square. The axles were attached under the stand and the wheels fixed to them. The wheels were 27 inches in diameter. They were designed like chariot wheels. Everything, axles, rims, spokes, and hubs, was of cast metal. There was a handle at the 4 corners of each washstand. The handles cast in one piece with the stand. At the top of the washstand there was a ring about 9 inches deep. The uprights and handles were cast with the stand. Everything and every available surface was engraved with cherubim, lion, and palm trees, bordered by arabesques. The washstands were identical, all cast in the same mold. He also made 10 bronze wash basins, each 6 feet in diameter with a capacity of 230 gallons, one basin for each of the 10 washstands. He arranged 5 stands on the south side of the temple and 5 on the north. The sea was placed at the southeast corner of the temple. Hiram then fashioned the various utensils, buckets and shovels and bowls. Hiram completed all the work he set out to do for King Solomon on the temple of God: 2 pillars, 2 capitals on top of the pillars, 2 decorative figurines for the capitals, 400 pomegranates for the 2 figuries, a double row of pomegranates for each filigree, 10 washstands, each with its wash basin, 1 sea, 12 bowls under the sea, miscellaneous buckets, shovels, and bowls. All these artifacts that Hiram made for King Solomon for the temple of God were of burnished bronze. He cast them in clay in a foundry on the Jordan plain between Succoth and Zarathan. These artifacts were never weighed. There were far too many. Nobody has any idea how much bronze was used. Solomon was also responsible for all the furniture and accessories in the temple of God: the gold altar, the gold table that held the bread of the presence, the pure gold candelabras, 5 to the right and 5 to the left in front of the inner sanctuary, the gold flowers, lamps, tongs, the pure gold dishes, wick trimmers, sprinkling bowls, ladles, and censers, the gold sockets for the door of the inner sanctuary. The Holy of Holies also used the doors in the sanctuary. That completed all the work King Solomon did on the temple of God. He then brought in the items consecrated by his father David, the silver and gold and the artifacts. He placed them all in the treasury of God's temple. Acts chapter 7, verse 30 through verse 50. Stephen continued. 40 years later, in the wilderness of Mount Sinai, an angel appeared to him in the guise of flames of a burning bush. Moses, not believing his eyes, went up to take a closer look. He heard God's voice: "I am the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." Frightened nearly out of his skin, Moses shut his eyes and turned away. God said, "Kneel and pray. You are in a holy place, on holy ground. I've seen the agony of my people in Egypt. I've heard their groans. I've come to help them. So get yourself ready. I'm sending you back to Egypt." This is the same Moses whom they earlier rejected, saying, "Who put you in charge of us?" This is the Moses that God, using the angel flaming in the burning bush, sent back as ruler and redeemer. He led them out of their slavery. He did wonderful things, setting up God's signs all through Egypt, down to the Red Sea, and out in the wilderness for 40 years. This is the Moses who said to the congregation, God will raise up a prophet just like me from your descendants. This is the Moses who stood between the angels speaking at Sinai and your fathers assembled in the wilderness and took the life-giving words given to him and handed them over to us, words our fathers would have nothing to do with. They crave the old Egyptian ways, whining to Aaron, make us gods we can see and follow. This Moses who got us out here miles from nowhere, who knows what's happened to him? That was the time when they made a calf idol, brought sacrifices to it, and congratulated each other on the wonderful religious program they had put together. God wasn't at all pleased, but he let them do it in their way. Worship every new god that came down the pike and live with the consequences described by the prophet Amos. Did you bring me offerings of animals and grains, those 40 wilderness years, O Israel? Hardly. You were too busy building shrines to war gods, to sex goddesses, worshiping them with all your might. That's why I put you in exile in Babylon. And all this time, our ancestors had a tent shrine for true worship, made to the exact specifications God provided Moses. They had it with them as they followed Joshua when God cleared the land of pagans, and still had it right down to the time of David. David asked God for a permanent place of worship, but Solomon built it. Yet, that doesn't mean that Most High God lives in a building made of carpenters and masons. The prophet Isaiah put it well when he wrote, Heaven is my throne room, I rest my feet on earth. So what kind of house will you build me, says God, where I can get away and relax? It's already built, and I built it. Psalm chapter 128, verse 1 through verse 6, a pilgrim song. All you who fear God, how blessed you are! How happily you walk on this smooth, straight road. You worked hard and deserve all you've got coming. Enjoy the blessing. Soak in the goodness. Your wife will bear children as a vine bears grapes. Your household lush as a vineyard. The children around your table as fresh and promising as young olive shoots. Stand in awe of God's yes, and how he blesses the one who fears God. Enjoy the good life in Jerusalem every day of your life, and enjoy your grandchildren. Peace to Israel. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 31 through verse 33. Gray hair is a mark of distinction, the award for a God-loyal life. Moderation is better than muscle, self-control better than political power. Make your motions and cast your votes, but God has the final say. This was a daily reading of the Message version of the Bible, read to you by Bible in a Year.